Hey guys, and welcome to BeardYGO. So last time I did quite an in-depth video regarding Master Duel, and since then I actually achieved Platinum 1 with Earth Machines. So let me show you the deck profile, and then we can get to a couple of staples and stuff that you guys might need for this game. Specifically stuff that I would recommend getting earlier, and rather just focus on something that is more friendly for free to play. Don't try and go and max out all your credit cards or anything. This game is quite affordable if you don't pay anything, but also you can pay a little bit of something, especially with the gem deals that are out, because those are pretty cheap. So if we get into our deck over here, so it was pretty interesting. I decided to use this deck basically for Master Duel because I've been getting quite a lot of success with it in TCG. However, it is a little bit different over here. But I basically just used my TCG build and then just added a couple of stuff which are legal for this game. So you start off with 3 copies of Maxi. Now, Maxi is basically a staple in this. If Maxi is around, you have to play it. And you don't really care about your opponent negating this because it's just a bonus basically for you. And then on top of that, if you obviously get to do your combo plus you get to the Maxi, it will also just slows your opponent down, therefore you can just have a much easier matchup as well. Then we got 3 copies of Infinitrack Harvester. Now Harvester is your one of your starters for the deck. We've got the 1 Ancient Gear box, searchable off of the Ballista, and then we've got the 1 Infinitrack Anchor Draw. So those are basically your normal summons, besides for Metal Cruncher. So Metal Cruncher is your other normal summon as well. You don't really want to see box in your hand at all, so yeah, but if you got no normal summons and lets you open a box with like a dozer, then you know you've basically got full combo anyway. So now after the drill, we've got the 2 copies of Trencher. I decided to keep 2 Trencher instead of playing 1 because this just helps a lot for the grind. You don't have to wait till you can shuffle this back. So yeah, playing 2 I think is really essential. You don't want to be struggling to get your the board up and running again. Then we got the 1 copy of Infinitrack Tunneler. Tunneler is your Pot of Avarice, so allows you to recycle all your resources back, draw 2 cards, and what's nice about this deck is it basically shuffles all the extra deck stuff back. Hardly ever do you just shuffle main deck stuff, and that means your deck is thinned out enough, especially as you go through the combo. Your deck's thinned out enough that the 2 draw is basically just much more beneficial. And then we got 3 copies of Dozer, standard in all the builds as well. Then Machine of Fortress. Now I decided I'm going to be playing 3 of him because he's basically the best monster in the entire deck, besides for Maxi. But yeah, Fortress is the best card. It's an extender, it adds a bit of pressure, it's got 2 effects that can disrupt your opponent quite nicely, a hand grip plus a card destruction on the field. So that's really good, and it's just like an infinite extender. If you got enough resources, you can just do this guy the whole time. So yeah, I feel he is really good. Plus he's got a big attack stat as well, so he can crash into stuff and then get another pop on the board as well, so that really helps a lot. Then, as you said, our other normal summon is the Metal Cruncher. Now, Metal Cruncher is only a normal summon if you control no face-up cards. So you need to just make quite sure when you're playing, especially if you're going into a long game, that you use your resources in such a way so that if you are planning for a cruncher or you might be top decking into a cruncher, just make sure that your board has nothing that is face up, for example, like any of your floodgates or heavy forward foil. So yeah, then we come to a little train package. So we got one heavy freight dairy crane. So dairy crane is basically a pop if it's detached, but it's also an extender from hand. So whenever an earth machine is normal to special summon, then you can just special summon him from your hand. So free extender as well. Then we've got bullet train. Now bullet train allows us to get into our grind game. So we've got our recycling from the bullet train, allowing us to add any earth machine monster from our grave back to our hand. Doesn't even have to be an earth machine, it can be anything. So we can shuffle back Zeus, we can shuffle back into Blatner, Dinky or Sue. So yeah, he just really helps to get the flow of your next turn going. Then we've got our last monster over here, Citadel. And Citadel is basically just a board wipe, and you just target any machine you control, destroy it, and all monsters opponent controls with attack less than or equal to it. So you don't have to destroy your monster first, it destroys on resolution, so you just need to target your monster, and if your monster can't be destroyed by card effects, then you basically just nuke your opponent's field without hurting yours. Then, because we are in Master Duel, I decided to play one Harpies Feather Duster, so we got a bit of back row removal as well. Luckily the deck can play through quite a bit, but just having this for those in-case moments really helps a lot. So one Feather Duster, I opted not to go for Lightning Storm because a lot of times you do have floodgates and stuff, and then Lightning Storm is just dead, so yeah, the Feather Duster really helps as well. Then we've got the best card in the deck. So we've got best monster Fortress, best card redeployment. This is a 1 card OTK, or 1.5 card OTK, you just need one to discard a card to activate it. And this card basically just helps you to facilitate OTKs. This is 1 card full combo as well, or 1.5 card full combo, but yeah, you get the point. It's just really powerful. Discard 1, search 2. And if you discard a machine, you search 2 cards instead of just 2 monsters. So that's really awesome. Then we've got our other starter over here, so we've got a heavy forward. This is just a searcher for any Infinitrack monster, and you can target an exceed monster you control, either change its battle position or attach this card to it as material. So if you want your Zeus to have more materials, then you can attach this to your Zeus, and then you can probably get off a couple of effects through that. Then we have Urgent Schedule. Urgent Schedule is basically our extender going second, but it's also a searcher. So even if we go in first, we can't activate its first effect, we can always use the second effect. First effect is if the opponent controls more monsters than we do, we can summon a level 4 or lower, plus a level 5 or higher Earth Machine from deck in defense. Their effects are negated, but that's fine, and then it just locks us into attacking with machines. But that's okay because literally the only monster in our extra deck that's not a machine is Calamities. So the schedule is a double summon from deck, but if schedule is set on your field already and is sent from the field to the grave, so either if your opponent pops it or you send it to the grave, there's a couple of ways that you can do that, and then it just searches you at level 10. So level 10 is basically just then gonna be either your bullet, your citadel, or your dairy crane. You'll mainly go for the dairy crane and the bullet, but if you've got like a fortress or something, or you don't have access to citadel, then you can always just get the citadel. There's various ways of getting citadel into the grave from your hand, so that's fine. Then onto the traps, we've got 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. This deck is literally just board wipe, and it pluses off of your board getting wiped as well. So you Torrential, that triggers your Citadel, which allows you to basically Torrential your opponent again. So that is really awesome. And then we've got 3 copies of Imperm. So Imperm is over here because it is another hand trap. However, we don't really care about it being in our hand. We mainly want to get it like if we are going first, we'd rather want to set it, or we want to get it off of the trap trick. That way we can shut down floodgates that our opponent has as well. So that's the main reason for the Imperms. But it is also nice if we are going second, we can just Imperm something, and then, you know, opponent can't really go off as much as what they would. Moving on to trap trick. So we got trap trick. Trap trick gets us into the Imperms, gets us into the torrential tribute, and also gets us into our overdrive. And trap trick's fine because it's basically just another copy of all of these for whatever situation that we need it to be. And just having to activate another trap, one trap after activating trap trick doesn't really matter, because a lot of times you can activate all your other traps before activating trap trick and then activate what you got. So there's not really a restriction off of this card. Then we've got 2 copies of Overdrive, and Overdrive is where we can target a machine we control, summon a machine up from deck or hand, and then we destroy the targeted monster. But in the grave, we can banish it, target 3 of our machines that are banished or in grave, shuffle them to the deck and draw a card. So that's quite nice as well. And it doesn't have to target earth machines, whereas Tunneler has to target earth machines to shuffle back and get the draw. So this allows us to also recur our Dingirsu, our Interplatner, our Zeus. So yeah, really good card. Then we got a 1 copy of Imperial Order. Now Imperial Order is there to shut down all the spells and everything. We don't really care about our spells being shut down that much, because we can get rid of order whenever we want to. Then basically just adding up to like 4 copies of order, we're running 3 anti-spell fragrance. Now the reason for this is because a lot of people have been running go second cards and everything in their decks as well, so a lot of backer removal and things like that, because we are in a single format or single tool format. So anti-spell just helps to lock out a lot of those and also slows down a lot of the decks as well. Then to finish off our main deck, we've got 3 copies of Skill Drain, and I run 1 copy of Skill Drain in my TCG build that I main, and for it just to be at 3 copies is just insane. So yeah, 3 copies of Skill Drain in the main, we don't really care about that. A lot of our stuff are just big beaters, and yeah, it mainly just benefits us because a lot of decks can't actually play under Skill Drain. Then if we get to our extra deck, we got 1 copy of Riverstorm. Is either a Foolish Burial or a Search for any Earth machine, and he can also extend by triggering a machine Link on the field and then summoning himself back from the grave, so that's really good. And if he destroys an opponent's monster by battle, then he can attach the monster to material, so that's really nice to facilitate some Zeus plays as well. We got Dingirsu. Dingirsu is made using Drill and Box, so Drill doubles the level of itself and Box, and then you just make Dingirsu. Non-target removal, so that helps us to get rid of nasty threats as well. And this is also board protection. So we got our 1 copy of Interplatner. Now this is mainly for our first and combo. If we open decently, then we can rip a card out of the opponent's hand as well. But also this is non-target removal as well. So if we can't make the Dingirsu, we can make the Interplatner and get rid of things that can't be targeted. Then Calamities. Calamities legal in Master Duel. It's actually really awesome. A bit scary though, but yeah, we can make Calamities turn 1 easy peasy. It's not an issue at all. So this just shuts down everything and gives us the next turn to it again. Then we've got Earth Slicer. Earth Slicer is also basically like board wipe. When it destroys a monster by battle, it can attach the monster as material. Then it's also got the revive effect, just like Riverstormer from Grave, by tributing a machine link. But I can detach any number of materials from this card, target that many cards on the field, and destroy them. So this helps to get rid of back row decks, or even some front row. But mainly this will be used to get rid of back row decks. Then one copy of Gustav Max. Now Gustav Max is there just for that burn. This helps us to OTK our opponent. So you go into Max, and then you burn them for 2000, and then you go into Leave. Leave then goes and makes itself 6000, and you attack for the 6000. And that's basically just how it goes. Then we've got Dora, and Dora is basically there to protect anything that we need protected on the field. A lot of people struggle getting rid of this, so they'll mainly kaiju it, but that's fine because once they kaiju this, we've got a kaiju on our board and we can actually just continue playing. So that's not too bad at all. Then Lieb, like I said, he's our OTK machine, but on top of that, he's basically like a conductor where he can attack. He can attack monsters up to a number of materials that has +1, so that's awesome. And we've got Zeus just for the board wipes in very situational times in Duel. So then we've got Infinitrack Goliath. Goliath is basically our Link 1, and that just helps us to get our entire combo off. Also, if he's sent from field to grave, we can target an Exceed monster, attach this card, and if the Exceed monster is a machine, then that machine gains the effect that it can't be destroyed by card effects. So that also just helps quite a lot as well, especially since we are running Torrentials and Citadel and Overdrive. Right, then we have our one double-headed Anchor Knuckle. A lot of people play two. I opted to play one because you can recur it if you play smartly, and then on top of that you can actually just you can still survive even if they get rid of this. Like I've had this being pulled by banished with DD Crow, a bunch of stuff like that, and it's fine. This is just a really nice extender to get into your rank 10 plays. That's like your main thing. So you don't really need to worry if you can't get this guy out, because you don't have to push for game with your rank 10s. So yeah, the only thing that Knuckle is just really important with is getting your bullet back onto your field so that your bullet hits grave so you can recur more resources. That's the main reason Knuckle is in the deck. So I think one copy is really fine. And remember, even if you banish it, you can always shuffle it back with Overdrive, or attach it with Fingers. Like honestly, it's not an issue at all. Then we got our one copy of Ballista. Ballista is specifically just there to search for box for deck thinning, so box can search us either drill, trencher, or tunneler. So yeah. And then the last copy in our extra deck is Gaia Sabre. Now this is one of the OG links, so the reason why we play him is because he is an earth machine, and Dozer, when it uses its effect, locks us into only special summoning earth machines for the turn, or for the rest of the turn. So if we get hit by small little things like Contact C, for example, which shuts down decks like this, then we can just use Gaia Sabre because it is a generic link to just link away and not be restricted by Dozer or whatever our opponent brought out on our side. So, you know, Nibiru tokens, whatever. Yeah, this just helps us to continue playing. Plus, because it's an earth machine, you can make Citadel live. If this gets destroyed, Citadel can summon out, and that's just awesome. Sometimes you've got a bullet in your hand, and now you've got something that's not a machine on the board. Just go into a Gaia Sabre, allows your bullet to special summon itself, and then you can go into Ballista or Knuckle and just continue your plays. So that is it for the deck, and surprisingly this deck did really well. I know 50 cards is a lot, but this deck just likes to grind. It just keeps going into itself. We've got a lot of starters. We've got 3 Harvester, 3 Cruncher, 3 Redeployment, 3 Heavy Forward. You know, those are all of your main starters. And then if you're going second, you got Schedule as well. You know, so it's really good. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. But let's quickly get on to a couple of staples over here. So what I would recommend for players to be trying to get as quick as possible would be DD Crows. So DD Crows, I think we should actually just go back and then we can just see the rarities here for you guys. Right, so as we said, DD Crow. Now DD Crow is an Ultra, and I think that it is actually just, oh sorry, it's a Super, my bad. Yeah, DD Crow is really good, allows us to get rid of stupid little things that our opponent might be having. Very good up against Eldritch matchup as well, which is also one of the best decks on this platform at the moment. Then we've got Effect Veiler. So this is basically just like another copy of Imperm, except it can only be activated in your opponent's turn. So yeah, pick up Veiler, it's not too bad. But if you can, I would opt for an Imperm. Then Droll and Lock, very good, and the nice thing is that it is a super rare. Just shuts down a lot of stuff as well. Then obviously Maxi, you gotta run Maxi. Then there is Gamma. Gamma is 7 limited now, so you don't have to spend too much problem points for this guy. Ghost Ogre, situational. Reaper, situational. Ash Blossom, really good since Maxi is over here. Ghost Bell, also really good against like Eldritch, for example. Then we got Ghost Mourner, very similar to Veiler, but if the monster is removed, then it does burn damage as well. Then we got Skullmeister, also same like DD Crow, just shuts down decks like that have good grave effects. Then goes Sekka, so if we want to shut down back row heavy decks, yeah, you could always use this guy, especially if the format changes. Then we've got Scythe and Lancia along with Sanctum, and this is basically just your anti-Yu-Gi-Oh play. So Lancia good against a lot of decks that banish, Scythe just locks everyone out for a turn. And the same with Dimension Shifter as well. So Shifter will basically make everything like a Macrocosmos for 2 turns. So decks that rely on Grave really suffer under Dimension Shifter. Then we got 1 copy of Pancratops. It's also an Ultra, but it's fine, you only need 1, it's limited over here. Then Sky Striker is running around quite a lot, as well as Bird Up and Tri Brigade and all of that. So Phantasma I think would be a really good choice. So you know, you could go Phantasma into a Maxi and then Maxi your opponent, for example. Or other way around even, like, you know, just getting those extra draws, plus it's got a beneficial effect on the field where you can negate something that's targeting you. Then we've got Lava Golem. They are hectic threats, so if you can't get into cards like Lightning Storm, Dark Rune or Droplets and all that, you know, go for these things that can just tribute away these types of threats that, or these negates that you can't get over. So Lava Golem, Godarla, specifically Godarla, but you can run whatever creatures you want. Godarla is good against the bird matchup because it's not locked out by the barrier statue. So if you have, let's say, a Lightning Storm, for example, you can then Godarla the opponent, you like drop their Beast to Beast Warrior so that the Oath is not live anymore, or maybe even just drop the Apex Avian and then, you know, nuke the board that way. So that really helps as well. Usually they won't have the barrier statue if they have the apex. So yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear those crazy dogs that our neighbors have. They just bark at everything, even though in shadows. So yeah, but if you can't hear it, then great, then I'm happy. So you can also go for alpha. Now alpha is good, basically just like another pack of tops. Just allows you to get rid of those nasty effects on the field. Your opponent will most likely negate this, but that is fine. That is what this type of stuff is for. It's there to bait out. If they can't negate this, then this is just like free wins, you know. Then on top of also tributing the opponent's stuff, got sphere mode. A lot of decks are comboing at the moment, so sphere mode very good for breaking boards that have already been established. Then Nibiru as well, same thing. While they're trying to establish their board, you can break it. So yeah, as long as they don't set up monster negate before number 5, or even on number 5. Then Raigeki, Harpy's Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, you know, the board wipes, really good. I would say you should get at least one of each of these because they are limited, and pick yourself up a few copies of Lightning Storm. 2 or 3 is fine. I've actually been playing 1 in some of my decks where I'm like 1-1-1, and it's been working out really well anyway. Here we got Monster Reborn. You get it, so it's free. Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is also really good. I would say pick it up, especially if you want to play a deck that works well with the Grave. Foolish Burial is a good one. Rota, if you're playing a warrior type of deck. Terraforming, if you are running field spells that you really need. Instant Fusion to get you cards like Millenniumize Restrict, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, I would say Instant Fusion is a good one. Desires, very easy to pull, along with Extravagance and Prosperity. They're all supers, so easy to craft. So yeah, there shouldn't be a reason why you don't have Extravagance, Prosperity, and Desires. Then we got Foolish Burial Goods, and Goods is here to dump your spells and traps. So if you require strategy that needs that, good, it's a super rare, great. Dark Ruler, now this is ultra rare, shuts down monsters. This is like amazing, gets dry draw matchup, so I would actually say pick these up as well if you can, or pick up droplets. But yeah, Dark Ruler against those decks I think it's just better, but just remember you can't OTK your opponent when you are using droplets. Then Lightning Storm, as I said, board breaking. A little bit more draw power, perform popper up. So we've got discard send from hand to grave, up to 3 cards, draw that many cards. And this is good against, or it's good with like Pendulum, but you don't need to run that. You'll just be taking 1000 damage for every card in your hand if you aren't special summoning off of its secondary effect. Then we've got Triple Tactics Talent. I'm not sure about Talent at the moment because we have Max C for the whole draws and everything, but I think this can be really good, especially if the opponent does Max C us, then you know we can just at least get a pot of greed off of that. So yeah. Then I've spoken about Prosperity. MST, this is the reason why I picked up the Synchro starter deck, because you get 3 MST, and that way I don't have to be looking for stuff like Cosmic Cyclone and, you know, Twin Twisters and all that type of stuff. Because this is free, I don't have to waste my crafting points on these 2. So yeah, Twisters, Cyclone, also for back rows. Cyclone, better than MST because it vanishes, but it does drop you in life points, so sometimes you can't even activate it, which really sucks. Twisters requires a discard, but it pops up to 2, so you know it's basically still like a 1-for-1 trade, but that way you can at least hit more. And yeah, so that's better than MST, but this is free. If you don't want to use your craft points, don't. You can get this in the Synchro starter deck. Then Book of Moon, it's a rare and it's actually super powerful. So definitely pick this up. You'll have endless amounts of resources to craft rares and your normals as well. So definitely do that. Then we've got Super Poly. Super Poly's at 2. I think it's a really good one, especially since a lot of decks are running certain stuff that is basically just you know, attribute specific. So you know, Starving Venom and all that type of stuff really works well. Then another rare that we've got here is Forbidden Chalice. So yeah, this is basically another one of those. It's like a hand traps, like an imperm, but it's cheap. So pick it up. I mean, one time I actually won a game like this where the opponent had nothing on board. They had 400 life points. I normal summoned the Golem lock and then I attacked and activated the Chalice to negate my draw and just make it attack 400, and then that's how I won the match. So sometimes this attack boost really comes in handy as well, where you can just negate your own stuff and then just beat over things. Then Twin Twisters and Cosmic Cyclone we covered. Call by the Grave and Crossout Detonator. These two I would say is essential, especially since Maxi is around. So 2 of these, 3 of these, 3 of these, 3 of these, you know, it does sort of make for a bit of a stale type of deck building, but this is necessary because now this is the biggest threat in the game. Then we got Forbidden Droplet, again just to negate a board that has multiple negates like Dark Ruler, and whatever you send off of this, they can't respond with it, which in fact could make it better than Dark Ruler, but Dark Ruler can cover more stuff than what Droplet can, unless you max seed and then drop with the opponent and you've had like, you know, 30 cards in your hand or whatever. Torrential Tribute, I'm playing this in my Earth Machines, as you saw. It's a rare, easy to craft, good for board breaking. I would definitely recommend this, especially if you're running a trap heavy strategy. Sanctum gets out your side, plus it's got an additional effect to pop a card on the field if this card is destroyed, so that helps quite a lot as well. Then again, back row removal, so if you want to get rid of stuff like Anti-Spell Fragrance, Imperial Order, Skill Drain, you know, Rivalry, Gozen, there can be only 1 Vanities, you know, all of these floodgates, you can just use Typhoon, especially against like Imperial Order and Anti-Spell Fragrance, because Typhoon is a trap card. So if your opponent has 2 or more spells or traps, you can just activate this card from your hand if you don't have any spell traps. So this makes this a really nice trap to also run, plus it is a normal, you can get this easy. Imperm, just basically another hand trap, but it is an ultra, so it is expensive. We got Judgment. You don't have to really invest in more of these, but the nice thing is you only have to craft 2 more, because this comes in one of those like, what's it, special pack things that you got. So you get your 10 master packs, and then they give you Judgment free. So you've already got 1 free, you might as well use it. And if you want a playset, at least you only spending 60 craft points instead of 90. Then Solemn Strike, also an ultra rare, very good against monster effects. So yeah, I would also say have a look at Strike. Red Reboot, just to counter all of those back row heavy decks. And then we've got Anti-Spell Fragrance and Imperial Order to stop out all the spells. Skill Drain to stop monsters. Vanity's Emptiness to stop special summoning. Rivalry, just to lock everyone into 1 type. Gozen to lock everyone into 1 attribute. And Take Me Only 1 to lock single type decks into only having 1 monster. Then there's one on here that I have not mentioned, and that is Evenly Matched. And Evenly Matched is a super rare. So this just really helps a lot that it's a super rare, because super rares, you will never ever need to worry about having to craft your super rares, because the amount of super rares you get from opening packs justifies basically, or causes for you to have like an endless supply of super rares. So you never have to worry, this number will get low, but it's quite easy to get the number back up to craft some more again. So yeah, evenly matched, really, really good, board breaking, and people just hate it. Then extra deck wise, we got Omega, Crystal Wing, Savage, synchros that are really, really good. On negate, monster negate, hand rip, and recursion, really good. Then Exceeds, put in a Dweller, Titanic, Galaxy, and Calamities along with Zeus. I'd say these four probably like one of your best that you can use. I mean, there's also Rongo, but that's very specific to warriors. So if you're not running that, but you can make use of any of these, then yeah, that's why I decided to put these in here, because they are much more generic. Link Spider, if you didn't get the Synchro starter deck but you got the Link starter deck, then you can just get the Link Spider. That's free, but it is a super rare, and like I said, resources of supers are endless. So yeah, get yourself a Link Spider, especially get Nubbed. You can still Link Spider and continue playing. For example, if you have like Parallel Exceed in your hand. Then Link Revo, good against the battle, so you can just save yourself a bit. Good with zombies, for example, like if you got Bloom on the field, you can just tribute it away for Link Revo in your grave, and then you get your search, and you know, you got another body on board as well. Then you got Crystron Halifibrax, Needle Fiber. That's just how I'm gonna say it. Needle Fiber, we all know it's Needle. Needle Boy Hulk. Yeah, really good, generic. We should just all get this card. Then we've got Cerberus, we've got Phoenix, and we've got Unicorn. Cerberus and Phoenix being supers, so easy to get. Unicorn, not so much. Ultra, but you only need one anyway. Same with Verte, you also only need one. IP, you only need one. Then good if you want to go and access code OTK, or even get yourself into like Avermax, for example, stuff like that. Bring something back, like bring back Droll, and then link Kariba to Droll away, and then make Avermax, for example. You know, small little things like that, but it's mainly for access code. So yeah, if you're running Droll and you're running Effect Vader, or you're running anything Spellcaster related, then Selene is really, really good. Boral Sword for OTKs, Avermax for OTKs and pesky monsters. Apollosa for negates, and access code Talker also for board breaking and OTK. So I think these are probably like your best bets to pick up for the game. However long it might take you, you can decide in which order you want to go for all of these. A lot of times you'll go for a lot of traps first, or a lot of hand traps first. All depends on what your deck build is like, or your playing style as well. So yeah guys, that's it from my side, and I hope that this video has helped you guys a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers!